Hi, Mark. This is Jim Gillis with Win My Vote, and thanks so much for linking in. Wanted to give you a quick demo of the site and then talk with you about leveraging Win My Vote for your national strategy. I actually built the site with third-party candidates and underfunded candidates in mind, simply because there was no place for a voter to go and look at all of the candidates in the race. So I'll give you a quick demo of how it works. It's a free voter engagement site, so I can get my own account up here with just an email address or a social media account. I type my zip code in, and my zip code will place me in specific voting districts. And if there's any overlap, if there's two districts in the same zip code, then we have resources on the sign up page where you can find your correct district. But let me give you an example of mine, which is here in San Francisco. And when you first sign up, when there are direct hits on districts like this one, the state senate, state assembly, and school districts, they just auto-populate. You don't have to go down here and change. That's only when you're changing your account. So it's real quick, and then you can do party preference if you want for primaries. But I'm going to just leave that open for right now, and I'm going to hit save. And these are my ballots. This was obviously the presidential one, and this is the upcoming gubernatorial election in California in 2018. Which, by the way, just to let you know, these are all real percentages. We have about 100 people that are, engaged and sort of have started favoriting candidates, for even for that election. But to give you a good example of how it works, here is the presidential election in San Francisco, and it goes down through the state senate race, and then congressional, and then state senate, state assembly districts, superior court down into the county level, and then even into the city level races, board of supervisors, etc. All the way down to school board. So school board is a good example of your average voter has no idea the people that are running for school board. School board's usually decided by less than 10%, of the eligible voters. But here, as just a regular voter that was probably more interested in the presidential race or the Senate race, I can now scroll down and I can now see, all the different candidates here. Rachel Norton, she can be a sweetheart of the Democratic Party, extremely well funded, and Matt Haney, who's right next to her, can be a 3-year school teacher that's planning on spending maybe $400 or $500 in the election. But the way it works is that, I'm going to give each one of these guys a couple of minutes. And Ian here, who I'd never heard of before, I'm going to give him a couple of minutes.
We live across the street from an elementary school, but the district's assignment process doesn't care. Even though our schools are more segregated today than decades ago, many families have to drive across town every day to get to the best school they could get into, making traffic worse and impacting our jobs. We need to restore San Francisco neighborhoods and let kids attend the schools inside their own community.
And then let's say, I say, great, I can look at a couple of other issue statements that he has down here. I can see, his recommendations. Maybe he has a couple of groups or organizations or individuals that have recommended him. And then if I like them, I can just favorite. And this, I'd be surprised if it's going to let me favorite him, but I guess it will, because the election's already closed. Okay, good. So this is a demo one that we opened up. But now, I can see that he is in green. I can actually see how he's doing. These are a percentage of the favorites that are on this ballot. And I can say, great, I'm going to vote for Ian, and I really like him. And then I move on to, the next race. And I can go down here to these BART boards and community college. We also do the state propositions. And I'll give you a quick peek at that. It's a summary of the proposition. You can see the groups and organizations that are voting yes, and you can see the groups and organizations that are voting no. If they've provided a video on this issue, you can click on that and you can watch the video.
When does temporary mean temporary? Well, it doesn't here in California when it comes to money and taxes. We passed Proposition 30 back in 2012, which was a 7-year tax during the Great Recession, ostensibly to fund K through 14 education, although there were backroom shell games that moved money around, which is why there was such a big shortfall in education during the Great Recession. So that money was a tax, a 0.25% sales tax, and
and you can say, yep, you know what, Ethan, I completely agree with you. This will start, by the way, as undecided, obviously. And then I click, no, and when I go back to the ballot, you can see here that 55 is nice and prominently no. And that's it. And then I can go through my entire ballot. I can look at all the different candidates and all the different races, and I can fill it out. And then I can, add this to one of my calendars if I want. I can see important information here, which is things like, City Hall opens for early voting, mail-in voting, last day to register, etc. I can also find my polling place. I can click on here, I can put an address in here, and I can find my polling place. And I don't think this will work yet because they're not assigned. But this is just a direct feed from the Google mapping API. So you get a nice Google map, to the location of your polling place, with step-by-step directions. You can also, check and see if you're registered to vote, or you can register, online if the state, allows that. You can register to vote by mail. You can register to vote by absentee. So there's lots of features here for the voter. And the whole idea of the site is this is where I'm going to make my decision. It's not going to be driving in my car, listening to the radio, or driving, or looking at a billboard or watching television. It's going to be right here, so I can compare the candidates side by side. And that way, the Democrat, the Republican, the Green Party, the Libertarian, and then even a couple of others, will get a fair shot. And I'll listen to him because, again, I'm going to give him 5 minutes. It's not,
I'm Gary Johnson, candidate for President of the United States, and I approve this message.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson.
I'm Governor Bill Weld.
I'm running for president.
I'm running with him.
Yeah, and then I can also, quickly see,
Stockholders and friends of Overstock. Patrick Byrne is back in charge after a 4-month political scene in America right now. For all the details from the man himself, we welcome back Overstock founder and current CEO Patrick Byrne. What a pleasure to see you back in charge, Patrick. Thank you so much.
David, it's such a pleasure to be seen.
Great to be candidate.
The Libertarian candidate, but that you're a Milton Friedman fan, I'm a Milton Friedman fan. It's what the Republican Party used to be, is generally libertarian. Anyway, Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, 2 very successful Republican governors of Democratic states.
But Patrick,
and let's say I say, it is about time. I can favorite the candidate, and again, when I go back to my ballot, his nameplate's turned green. I can see how he's doing on this ballot, which obviously is not very good. And this can help the party. It can help groups and organizations and those who are endorsing him to really go out and and really track how you're doing on a ballot by ballot. So this ballot's the California ballot. But more importantly, as a voter, I get to listen to all of the different parties. So sorry about the long video, but again, would love to talk with you and let you know how it works. And just reach out anytime you have a couple of minutes. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.